Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. So, today we have only one article to be discussed, which is from The Hindu and titled as Do We Have a Grip on Disinformation in 2021? So, this basically talks about the menace of fake news and how rapidly, with the use of internet, the fake news is also spreading amongst the people. And secondly, we have the news in flash column for our prelims exam. So if you're also preparing for judicial services examination, you can have a look at the Lord of the Courses, which is the judiciary test prep course from LawSikho. So the link to this course is there in the description box below. You can also download free study material for your own preparation. Then we are also excelling into courses like for CLAT, All India Bar Exam, SEBI, etc. You can have a look at them too. With this, let's see that what is the multiple choice question from yesterday's discussion. Saudi Arabia and its allies recently restored their diplomatic ties with Qatar, India, Bangladesh, or the United Kingdom. You can write down an answer in the comment section below. This is the descriptive question for the day. What are the factors responsible for the spread of misinformation on social media and other new platforms? Also suggest the measures to tackle it. So as we know that by disinformation, misinformation, there are all kinds of wrong information or fake news that actually spread and are causing a term which we have recently evolved or come up with, infodemic. So like we have the pandemic of COVID-19 that is really affecting the entire world. So infodemic is also a kind of hazardous situation or a situation of, worry to be worried about, wherein the wrong information or fake news is the one that is causing the biggest problem. So the disinformation or the fake news has been worsened by the infodemic of the social media age. Now, as we know that from the time of lockdown, approximately 13% of the internet usage has increased since as compared to the previous levels. And thus the people are more on the social media platforms these days. Now, with the greater use of the internet, there has been also greater and increased situations wherein the fake news is spreading very easily. So the massive spike in disinformation was seen during the CAA, which was the Citizenship Amendment Act, elections, Delhi riots 2020, and also the pandemic. Now, as we know that people every now and then they spread some other kind of fake news or a news that is just not even verified, but we tend to forward it on our various social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. And that is why this causes a massive disinformation spread at a large level. So there are different tactics and forms of spreading the misinformation or the fake news. So there are basically the 4 P's. First, spread and created in pursuit of power. So this comes from the political establishment. So many a times, various political leaders and political parties, in the first place, they misuse the power that they have, and secondly, for gaining more power, they use the social media platforms to either propagate any kind of agenda that is in their favor, or to demean or to defame the other political parties or the opponent political leaders. So it is mainly the first thing that sees its roots through the pursuit of power. Then second, sort of low grade clickbait and for profits. Now obviously many a times the pages that are shared, the YouTube channels and other stuff, they also gain profit when they have greater views and shares from the public, and thus the power, along with power comes profits, and that too profits in the not only just in the sense of power and other kinds of benefits, but also in terms of money as well. Then thirdly, driven by profound public disagreement. Now what happens is that the public it is very in today's time it has become easy to make people believe onto something. You just have to touch some aspects. Now it may be religion, it may be any kind of dharma that they believe into, or any particular thing that they strongly believe into, and if there is anything that is just against it, or that is completely something that is in favor of what they believe, then such things are very easy to be spread out in the name of fake news. And that is why profound public disagreement is brought up by such agenda, and thus they try to influence the public in the negative sense. And fourthly, enabled by platform companies. Now obviously various social media platforms as well, like Facebook, Google, YouTube and Twitter, etc. They also many a times the journalists who actually still fight for the truth, and they try to stop the menace of fake news, They also, and other institutions also, have come forward with various reports wherein it has been said that these institutions also have not been working very efficiently in curbing down the fake news, and they themselves participate because of various kinds of benefits. Now these could be monetary benefits or any other kinds of benefits, like the ruling party or any other party might promise to them some kinds of legislations in their favor or any stuff like that. And that is why these platform companies also are playing a very significant role in the spread of this fake news. So there are two kinds of fake news in India. Firstly, that come directly from the politicians. So many times the politicians, they give they take up their speeches and they directly speak something that has absolutely no fact or verification behind it, but still they just speak it very boldly, and we, being the citizens and the listeners, without verifying any particular fact, just tend to believe whatever the politician has said. And the other kind is organized disinformation on social media. Now, it is very, it is a thing to notice that most of these political parties have complete IT cells that actually run in favor of the, or for running the propaganda or agenda of these political parties. And these IT cells ensure that what kind of information regarding our party is floating on the social media. And there is complete a complete setup that organizes the flow of disinformation. Yes, please mind, I'm not talking about the right information, because that anyway must come in front of the public. But these IT cells many a times take up the disinformation as their agenda, and they try to propagate and spread it more and more amongst the people. So, if we talk about the traditional media and the disinformation, there are two problems that have plagued news organizations while dealing with disinformation historically. Firstly, it lies by powerful people. So, it is quoted by journalists, a fundamental driver of disinformation. Now, as we know that media in India also is considered to be the fourth pillar of democracy, but lately we have been coming up that the media also is not, fair, and it is biased, and it is, the media is, what we call it, is that people or the politicians or the rich people are able to buy the news channels or what the news channels are telling the people. And that definitely it puts up obstacles in coming forward of the real and the factual news. And then second is the balancing between covering disinformation and risking bringing people's attention to such narratives by covering them. So it is really, the social media platforms have not been really very effective, firstly in the fact checking, and secondly making sure that if any disinformation is floating, then it should be definitely the responsibility of the media to curb down any spread of fake news. But this balance also has not been able to be very efficiently been created by the traditional media in our country. So here, as we know, this India rising nationalism is pushing people to share fake news, because you must have, I am sure that each one of you who's listening to this news analysis has gone through a message that comes every now and then on our WhatsApp, that UNESCO has chosen, Jan Gan Man as the best national anthem of the entire world, or Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been awarded with so and so prize. All of us have gone through this news, and what we tend to do is that without fact checking that is it true or not, we just tend to forward it to 10, 50 or 100 other people. So this is really, really very, detrimental, because we definitely, being informed citizens, should also act like informed citizens. And before any kind of forward, please, this is a request to every listener, that we should be responsible listeners and citizens as well. And before making any kind of forward, please make sure that the news is verified and it is truth that needs to be forwarded, and not any kind of fake news. With this, let's see what do we have for news in flash today. Indian American named US Army's first CIO. Raj Iyer has taken over as the first Chief Information Officer of the US Army after the position was created in July 2020. So this is basically equivalent to a 3-star general. He will supervise an annual budget of $16 billion for US Army's IT operations. So this is something that is probably a proud moment in a way for India, maybe or maybe not for many people. But so this is important. His name is Raj Iyer, and he has taken as the US's Army's first CIO. So this was all for the day. We hope it was a good session for you. For if in case you wish to download the PDF for today's slides, please join our Telegram group. The link to this group is there in the description box below. And you can also visit our official website for any other information. Thank you so much.